Crossover time with Willard and Dibs.
I go on and on. Yeah, that's the song, man.
Must have had a superpower.
Look at
Thank
him.
you.
Willard was even into it. Stoney has no clue. That's too short.
Saying fish like me. Fish! That's the lyric, right?
Hey, guys, long time no see.
Let me pander a little bit here. Willard, great job last night. Just really good job.
Play the vomit sound.
It's not easy. It's not easy moderating that group with those people, and to do it so effortlessly in front of a live crowd, just stellar. Really good job.
This is when I get proud of you.
You couldn't even get through it without snickering. Look at you.
No, I'm smiling.
Okay.
I'm
He
smiling.
needs that.
Why?
Thank you, Stein.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So it's a thankless job, and someone has to do it. And
We had a great time.
That person is me. No, I always say the same thing. And for anybody listening who wasn't listening to Summit yesterday, I mean this too. I'll pander right back at you.
Oh, God.
No,
Get a room.
2 to 6 is our show. And it does, especially for a guy who complains about how long he has to stay here
211.
5 days a week. The fact that you do your entire show and then get in your car and drive somewhere that's an hour away to do 2 more hours, or in your case, you did about 1 of the 2 hours. That means something. That means something, and so that's much appreciated. And Goo, you did both hours, so thank you even more.
And I hope you know,
thank you
I
guys.
went and watched it again. Game tape.
Of course, yeah.
You know that was material when I was like, hey, throw it over here. I'm open.
Of course.
Okay.
Why, did my face look bad?
No. Others were like, oh,
I
boy.
never know if I've got, what do they call it? RBF?
RDF. Resting D face
there you
in your
go.
case.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
Too racy for you there, Stein?
Little bit.
Anyway.
After you tried to incite a riot against us?
I mean, he tried.
And I'm sitting next to you, so I was going to get some spillover if the crowd bum rushed you.
I couldn't believe that.
Bum rushed the show.
You got
PE.
booed. You got booed by people who took up their Wednesday to come see you.
What was that?
Really awkward.
That's amazing.
It was awkward.
That takes some
I like making.
chutzpah.
I don't mind.
I told him it hurt the show.
Discomfort. Discomfort's not a bad
When
thing.
you blatantly stood, I don't know if you stood, but you pointed to everyone and said, none of you matter.
Wow.
None of you matter. I thought that was a little heavy-handed.
Your reaction was priceless.
I should have said, like, Grandpa, Daddy, you actually matter. And Evan's parents were there, so they matter.
They're awesome. Yeah.
I know Grandpa Daddy's already gotten airtime, but I do want to shout him out for opening an account at Fremont Bank.
Oh, did he?
He came back with the little new account bag.
And he was with his daughter,
Incredible.
like Bonte.
His daughter.
And my co-host says,
His
no,
daughter.
that was his granddaughter.
Yes, that was his daughter.
He calls in to let us know it was his daughter.
Yes, although he tried to pawn his daughter off on the lovely Christie so he could go open the account. She was like,
Well, she was already watching one toddler.
which is part of the problem.
That's a
She's
four.
just like, how many kids am I going to babysit here? I came to
And
watch
baby
the show.
Chaz, give her the MVP.
Yes.
She was so well
but
behaved.
they all were.
Yeah.
They
My
all
kids were
That was-
brats.
Yeah.
That whole thing would have been
God.
stopped.
Well, no.
My toddler's on the move, so there would be no, like, sit on Daddy's lap.
Toddler's on the move.
Dude, that's-
Toddler's on the move.
She's at the 15, the 20, the 25, 30. There's no containing that toddler. But
Yeah, I would never, when my kids were that
That's
age, I would not
amazing.
do that.
I was impressed.
Well, that is I will say this now, that is the difference between having daughters and having sons. And it's not true for all daughters, but if you have daughters, you got a shot.
Yeah.
You got a shot to sit them at a table for 4 hours and get away with it. If you got sons, you got 4 minutes.
Yeah, tops.
4 minutes.
Fair.
And they're gone. And if you're on a rooftop deck, there's a decent chance they die. Like it's that.
Jeez.
It's that crazy.
Yeah, it's edgy.
Sons try to kill themselves without knowing it almost every day.
Yeah,
They're
Yeah,
just
pretty
like,
reckless.
yeah, you're like, I went to the bathroom, you come back, they're on top of the refrigerator.
No
it's
doubt.
like, what went through your mind?
No,
What are you
it
doing up
happens.
there?
You know,
Yeah.
fearless. And
So-
just one quick postscript on this before we
Anyway.
pivot. The term Grandpa Daddy was a Dibs original creation. And Grandpa Daddy, I assume he has a name. He only goes by Grandpa Daddy, but he took
GPD.
the moniker having heard me refer to myself in such fashion, being myself a Grandpa Daddy.
Hang on, let me go to his Instagram page.
All I know is
see if his
I
name is
must
on
have
there.
misunderstood.
Yeah.
Because I said, is that your granddaughter? And I thought he said yes. But apparently it was his daughter.
And I'm mad that I let you talk
Yeah.
me out of knowing the real.
Which is what prompted me to call, because I felt
did.
like
We
Steiny was a
appreciate
little
it.
heavy-handed in correcting you, when in fact you were right this time.
Yeah,
and he even
this time.
used your track record against you. He said, "Well, Guru can see how you're always wrong."
Please.
And I thought, you know what, I got to call in.
This guy has been so hesitant to tell us his name that I think I have his name, but I don't know if it's his name because
you
I
can't
don't
say
know
his
his
Because a
name.
lot of brothers don't like their government name on the air.
Well,
Willard.
but it's
I don't know
right.
what it is.
It's right. Well, I won't say his whole
Okay,
name.
all right, got you.
But I don't know. Give us a call this afternoon, GPD. If your name is
That's a solid 3.
if your name is Tracy. Tracy.
All right.
I won't say the last name.
Okay.
He's even got his middle name on here.
Dang.
If that's your actual name.
Hey, Willard, you and I start tonight. I play you in fantasy week
that's
one.
right.
Yeah.
I don't think I have anyone though. Do you have anyone?
No.
Well, then we don't
Yes, you
start
do.
tonight.
No, in another league,
got
I got
7
Lamar.
players.
I got, yeah. No,
In a different league.
everybody's got somebody tonight when you have 27 leagues. So I got all kinds of action, but not in our
Okay,
league.
yeah, none.
Tomorrow night, Jalen Hurts.
Why is that game bothering me in Brazil?
Why-
Have you
what
seen
part?
the field conditions? It looks like
Absolutely.
a prison yard.
I
and
mean,
then the
Shout out the
crime.
longest yard.
Hey, but they got more police. Like, Roger, do we really need to put these guys in harm's
Well,
way?
Dibbs will tell you because we were researching on air last week how crazy it is that this game even exists. Go back to, was it 1961? Is that
Give
when
it to me.
the government had that broadcast rule? So,
Yeah, you were talking about a show that I wasn't on.
oh, maybe this is when
Yeah.
you were up in the.
This is when you were
Grant and
talking to yourself.
No, yeah, exactly. Well, that happens a lot.
2 to 6. Yeah, I was on the road.
Anyway, so there was the government, 1961. There's a rule about football on Friday nights because they're trying to protect high school football.
God, wow,
So
Friday
you're
night
not
lights.
supposed to play NFL games on Friday night. So there were 2 rules. Number 1 was that you could not play in the United States. I think it was after 5 o'clock. And you could not broadcast it. So what has the NFL been
There's
able
no
to do in
way.
a tidy package?
No way.
2 things. 1, it's not broadcast. It's streaming. 2, it's not in the United States.
Listen to this.
Poof, you got your game.
All for the Money.
There you go. What else is there?
Right.
What
Right.
else is there?
Yeah.
I mean, why else is
I'm
there?
blown away at that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
I
And
didn't
it's
know
on
about those
Peacock
rules,
tonight.
but it makes perfect
Oh, no
sense.
doubt.
And they're looking to expand into all kinds of markets anyway, so this is actually a perfect double play for them.
And my mind immediately went to, well, wait a minute. How come they could do that Black Friday game now that they've done at least one, maybe
Right,
2
right.
years?
Streaming, right?
Streaming and started at 3 o'clock Eastern.
Yeah.
If you remember, it was
man.
over. The sucker was over by 3 o'clock in the afternoon our time.
Interesting, yeah.
So
That
there
is
you
wild.
go.
Great
That's
insight
how
there.
you
doubt.
circumvent the rules.
Now just get, I do, nobody asked. I feel bad for the DirecTV customers. They may miss the Niner game Monday if they don't get this thing fixed.
Well, that's the deadline, right?
Sad on both parts, but to get your stuff right.
I would say that DirecTV and ESPN pick a side. One of them is the Niners and one of them's Trent Williams. And
Wow,
so,
wow.
that's my
you
guess.
need resolution then, Will.
My guess is that Monday at about 3 o'clock, somebody will blink because, dude, do you want to know what
Could you-
DirecTV's
They're
phone lines
losing
will sound?
people.
This is a huge game. It's not just that it's Monday Night Football. Aaron Rodgers is returning to
Come on.
action.
Come on, man.
The 49ers, Monday night, standalone. Like, you know how the last few week ones have always had 2 games on
Yeah.
Monday night? Well, there's a reason why there's only one this
Man,
time.
and it's a big one.
This is the big deal. So
Get it together,
I would
Dibs.
imagine that deadline will
Or
bring some
you as a
action.
customer can, choose to
I've been
upgrade
seeing
and,
a
and
lot
go
of
to
that.
Xfinity.
YouTube TV too. Yeah.
Just go to Xfinity and they'll take care of all your needs in one. It's a one-stop shop, and they've been great partners of ours here at 95.7 The Game. So if your satellite dish company can't get their dish together, so to speak, then there's always a home for you. And I didn't read that from the Xfinity
mobile text line.
Yeah, but yeah,
You could text it in, and then I'll read it from the Xfinity mobile text line.
be great. Yeah, they're a good partner.
Yeah.
No worries about any missed channels.
Well, let me do it. It'll be a second early, but I'll turn it in. You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco, always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch and YouTube powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Goo, I went into see the boss to see if we were having a meeting today, and we are. But I overheard these guys talking about one of their topics, and it's a topic that I have on my list, but we never got to it.
Well, now it sounds like a wonderful time.
Okay.
That's what I think.
Yeah. 1 minute from now is our show, so you can just do it. I don't even know what you're talking about.
What do you think?
I do, yeah.
What do you think, Guru, about the 49ers changing their tailgating policies?
I didn't like it.
Their tailgating
And there's
policies.
an agenda, but I think it throws a monkey wrench in what used to be the original tailgating. My goodness, now you're going to be over there and you can't get. I didn't like it. That's all. Will.
Let me just try.
Yeah.
So my understanding is they're going to utilize now what's called directed parking,
Yep.
where you come in and they put you next to the car in front of you, and then the car after you is next to you. And I didn't realize that you could just go into the parking lot and park anywhere at some early in the day.
And I will say this, having parked down there at Levi Stadium for games and then had situations where I had to leave early for work reasons or whatever, you ever try to drive out of there?
It could be an hour, Willard.
It feels like you're driving through people's backyards because people are just, you're putting up tents, cars are 6 feet from one another. You're, like, people are just moving things so that you can get by. It's pretty wild. So I understand why they're doing it. It does feel a little anti-fun.
Yeah,
but
break up the monotony a little
it's also not new. Like, you ever driven to Disneyland? That's how Disneyland makes you park, amusement parks
but you
or
don't
whatever.
tailgate at Disneyland.
All your fans can't be together.
People tailgate at high school
Party
football
before Thunder
games.
Mountain all the time.
Yeah, this is about
Breaking
it's about
something
a
up,
couple
Dibs.
things. Well, one, it's about, I think, minimizing the super tailgates where you've got 80 people and maybe they're making a music video or there's actual happenings in the parking lot that are pretty great, I think, but I think that they're trying to eradicate that and make it tougher to do that. And also,
No doubt.
they're trying to make more money because if they direct park you, they're going to sell every spot. They're going to get more cars in the lot. There aren't going to be those 6 foot gaps, or maybe somebody takes the spot next to
So
them
what
and
he's
nobody
saying, you got to
shows
pay
up.
for the direct parking?
You got to prepay for parking.
You got to
so
pay for parking.
No.
Same way you had to before.
Well,
I would imagine
How
they'll,
are they
they'll be able to
making more
sell
money then,
more
is what I'm
spots,
asking.
is what I'm saying.
He's saying
yeah.
that you can optimize the number of cars you can get into the lot a lot better when you're not letting people spread out.
All right.
Additionally, fans are going to be directed to continue their tailgate inside more often, and you're going to sell more beer to people on the inside because your tailgate's not going to be as big, as long, or as fun. Just making it harder on people to get together. So if you have an 8-car tailgate, if you've got 30 people who always go,
Gotcha.
and normally it's like, meet me here, you just meet there, you get there whenever, and now the 8 cars are going to have to meet somewhere, and you're going to have to caravan in together.
They are talking about this on the streets. It was funny because Dibs, he hit me with this morning, and I was aware of it, but I haven't done this deep dive on it because,
Football?
whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know how many games
park in the Hilton.
Well, and with the Sunday work obligations, I'm not going to get to a ton of games anyway. Plus, if I ever do have tickets to a game like we do on Monday night, I'm so damn pleased and thrilled and happy to be there. I'm not going to bellyache about something like this, but I had to take my son to the doctor this morning, and he's wearing a 49er hat, right? And so he sits down on the table, and the nurse walks in, and she goes, "Oh, Niner fan." And he looks right at her, and he's like, "I'm going to the game on Monday."
That is
and
beautiful.
she immediately looks at me and goes, "Heard you can't tailgate anymore." And I'm like,
wow.
my gosh, the nurses at UCSF are like, this is where I wasn't at a sports bar. I wasn't with the guys. The nurse
It is
over here-
anti-fun, Dibs. That's what this is about. The more I'm
is.
thinking about it now.
Well, it's anti-group fun, and I looked around at some of the other tailgating policies around the NFL just to do my due diligence, and so I looked at some of the other heavyweights like Kansas City, and they've got rules. Green Bay, Buffalo's got no rules.
That's where I was going.
Buffalo's got. They actually have 5 different areas that are tailor-made to just how hard you want to go.
Man.
There's an area that's a little bit more tame by the RV lot. There's another lot for the Bills Mafia. So you have different levels. There's levels to this, Goo.
Wow,
But
man.
like Kansas City, for example, they said the parking lot opens 4 hours before kick, which is what the Niners do, but there's no directed parking in Kansas City. The big issue with this is they're telling you where to park. And they used to do it at Raider games. And shout out Derek Petrak in the Bart lot.
Yeah.
We had our tailgate in the Bart lot, and it was 2 mobile homes and about 60 people every Raider game. And that became even more a part of the event than the actual game.
See, I'd argue
It's a shame.
this is more culture, though, also. You know, you can't compare, or at least I wouldn't compare the Bay Area to Buffalo or Green Bay. It's a completely different experience. Now, look, you're in an area.
I know about that.
Well, you're in an area in Santa Clara that's just it's like a business park. So a lot of these places, like for instance, when we went to that game at Soldier Field a couple of years ago, Trey Lance's opener.
Yep.
We went
You
to
and
that
Bonte
game.
were there.
Yeah, and I thought it was fascinating. At least to what I could tell, there's no parking lot. There's no lot.
There's no
where
parking, no.
There's where everybody just shows up and, let's all get together and throw the ball
I've
around.
been there.
What happens instead is these little city lots all kind of band together, and tailgate parties that you often have to pay for in some cases will just almost like pop-up shops throughout the area that's nearby Soldier Field. But nobody drives to the game. Nobody drives to Soldier Field.
It's not accessible by
you
car.
find your way
Yeah.
there by public transit, Uber, somebody on a
Right by the water.
cycle.
It's on the lake,
Yeah,
exactly.
I've
There's
seen it.
nothing
So, like,
there.
And this isn't to excuse the idea. If it makes you mad, it makes you mad.
Because a lot of people are, Mark.
Yeah, like having been to a Lambeau Field tailgate, having been to Soldier Field tailgate, it is a completely different experience no matter what the rules are. It's totally different because you're in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
And there's stuff going on around the stadiums, bars, restaurants, and just a completely different
And you
culture.
mentioned the nurse.
I'll just compare this tailgate to what this tailgate has been. And
That's fine.
The whole
That's
fair. Why
Bang
you'd
Bang
be
Niner
mad.
gang
Oh, man.
represents the entirety of many of the tailgating people.
And you could film a video if you wanted to, and they have. You know what I mean? We know where we're going.
Yeah.
You mentioned the nurse. There are some real people that have been doing this 10 years or the inception of Chase that are just blown away right now. Now, you can figure out a way to try to, but man, this is anti-group fun.
Just make some new friends. It's okay.
Or make some new enemies. So, I think the phrase is unintended consequences of a certain action.
Maybe.
You may have unintended consequences where you've got Parker A, who's now next to Parker B, who just happened to be behind Parker A, and they may not be seeing eye to eye about pregame music and pregame festivities. There's a culture to it. And when you go into the parking lot with all the groups, you can tell if you're 80 yards away what this group is most likely going to be engaged in. Barbecue-wise, marijuana-wise, music-wise.
Yeah, you're right.
All the things, you can see it from a mile away, and you get more of a sense of, there's different,
that sucks,
different pockets and music and culture and ideology.
Like, how would you
and-
feel, Willard, if you did that and now this rule is implemented?
I'd be bummed. I'd be bummed, but I think, this is one of those things to me. Your fun is up to you, and if you let something get in your way of fun on Monday, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. There's 1,000 ways you can get ready for this game. You can come hang out with us at the Hilton.
Yeah.
If you're upset about what's going on.
because I'm going to the game.
If you got it, if you're
going, Steiny?
if your pop-up tent.
Probably.
Attaboy.
Are you?
We'll see.
Well, you got to take initiative early. That's why I was telling you if you want to decide to go.
Figure it out.
All right.
Yeah.
You're going. He's going home.
Yeah.
He's going.
I need to talk to you about
Minus
that, by the way.
250.
Yeah. So anyway, you know what? Right now is you said something earlier that caught a bunch of our attention, and I don't even know that you were trying to get our attention. This is the start of basically 30 years ago, right around today, was the start of Steve Young's get the monkey off my back
I
campaign.
loved him for it.
And the last time that the 49ers won the Super Bowl. 30 years.
1994.
Yeah, how does that just forget?
It's incredible.
How's that hit you? It's 30 years.
Well, I'll say this, and I'm being real. Flip side, Dallas has been 95, having been to an NFC championship game.
Yeah.
Niner fans have tasted winning the NFC championship game 3 times, being the only one of the two
Lost
teams.
it 2 other times.
Yeah, no
Yep,
doubt.
Yep.
But that's a long ass time, man.
Yeah, I feel like there's 32 teams in the NFL. So if it were fair, you'd win a title every 32 years.
So you're not going to get mad for 2 more years?
2 more.
2 more years.
Okay,
Okay.
2 more. 2
No,
more
I
years.
do, and I mean it's in our it's in our space on the daily doing what we do. I say this in my home, having 3 children who are all huge 49er fans. None of them have turned 20 yet. We have our technical director, Mark Grandy, and others around this station who have not had their 30th birthday yet.
All right.
And so, like, we talk about the 49ers as this unbelievable, and they are, legacy franchise. And then there's all these fans who have never experienced it.
That's crazy.
Have no idea what it feels like. Which made me kind of think of what you guys were talking about earlier about the whole, like, would you trade the next 10 years for a Super Bowl? All I will do, and we can talk about this more coming up, I'll direct the attention to San Francisco Giants fans. You won a championship 10 years ago. Are you all happy? Are you feeling happy?
I asked him the same thing.
Well, you had 1 year where you were a threat. Actually, 2 years, 16, you made the playoffs, and then you won
but you
107.
haven't won a series since.
And I would argue that that's about as angry of a fan base as we have encountered since Y2K in this city right now.
Haven't won a series, Dave.
And yes, all kinds of recent success. So my answer would be no. I ain't trading you a decade for nothing. I want you to be in the mix every damn year because you're San Francisco, and I want you to be well run. And I think that you should be taking shots at being good all the time.
So thank God for the Warriors in there for this last decade.
The team to me that's fascinating in this regard, and I hope I can do it, is the New York Giants.
Yeah, you did this earlier. It was awesome.
Yeah. So they won the Super Bowl in 2011. They've only been to the playoffs twice since then with, it looks like, one playoff win. So they lost the wild card 5 years later. Then they missed 5 more years later, then they lost in the division. Yeah, that's a long, dry spell.
No thanks. No thanks.
Yeah.
Yuck. Does that look fun right now, be a Giants fan?
And I've kind of picked up on your thing, too, which I'll acknowledge, and that is, if you are sold on Purdy, then, I mean, listen, of course you want to win it this year, but doesn't the future look bright if you believe you found your franchise quarterback and he's 23, 24 years old?
Lamar was that age too, and look where it's gotten Baltimore. It's bigger than just your
but it's guaranteed them
look
success.
At Josh Allen. I'm not mad at that. I'm just saying, Willard, if you got a Dallas thought they had a franchise quarterback, where's that got him in 8 years?
Well,
look at Lamar. It's bigger than just the quarterback, is what I'm saying.
But you're even bringing up examples and sort of saying them negatively because they haven't won a Super Bowl yet. And I think being a Bills or a Ravens fan right now looks pretty fun. To me, when you've got a franchise quarterback, you start every year with we might, and that's all you can do. Your answer is going to be no most of the time, but what you're saying, like, what if we're wrong about Purdy? That's a totally different subject to me.
If Purdy is Purdy, but what's around him starts to erode, and you get close, but you can't get it done. That happens.
And you better be Baltimore or you better be Green Bay and be able to restock the cupboard.
That's like that. Now it's like, do you have faith in the people making the decisions?
No doubt about it. Who put this roster together?
Like, if you have faith in Kyle, John, and Brock, you should be good all the time.
And that's why Baltimore is good all the time, is because they're the best drafting team in football, and Green Bay maybe is emulating it if these young guys continue to thrive.
And while we can talk about whether the Niners have drafted well or not, the bottom line is they put 2 Super Bowl teams out there in the last 5 years, and they were kind of different iterations of themselves, so they kind of have done it already once. All right, good stuff, guys. Yeah, real good.
That's crazy that you didn't take a breath after that sentence. Why not?
Well, it's time. We got a meeting.
All right.
We got a meeting with a boss. He's going to give us kudos for our effort last night.
The boss of what?
Let me tell you what he's the boss of. 95.7, The Game.